And welcome back to my basement, my pinball basement. But we're not talking about pinballs today. We are talking about Dungeons and Dragons. And look at what I picked up today. I picked up a Dungeons and Dragons starter set. Now there is a little bit of a backstory to this starter set. Now I first got interested in Dungeons and Dragons as a kid in the late 70s and early 80s. And yes, indeed, I picked up some early first edition Dungeons and Dragons books. And I was really into painting those little figurines. If you remember, you used to get them kind of like just some stamped kind of metal figurines, and you could paint them with your little model paints. But I didn't actually have anybody to play Dungeons and Dragons with at the time, and so I never really did play a single game. Well, it's always been in the back of my mind that I kind of wanted to pick up and learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons. So now I understand in the 80s, in the Edition 1 version, there's been some evolution of the game. And there's been Editions 2, Editions 3, Editions 4, and we are now on Edition 5. And I understand that it's one of the better versions of the Dungeons and Dragons realm. So this is a starter kit, since I'm still a starter even after many decades of having Dungeons and Dragons in the back of my mind. And you can see, this is everything you need to start playing the world's greatest role-playing game. And this is Dungeons and Dragons. And turning it around, you can see here, let's see, explore subterranes and labyrinths, plunder holds of treasure, battle legendary monsters. All right, that's what I want to do. And this game contains a 64-page adventure book with everything a dungeon master needs to get started. Well, I'm not going to be a dungeon master, that's for sure. I don't even know how to play this game. And it also contains a 32-page rule book for playing characters levels 1 and 5. Well, that's more my speed, but so that's probably of interest to me. It also contains 5 pre-generated characters. Okay, that's cool. Each with character sheets and supplied reference materials, and then a 6 game dice. Very nice, because those are the dice of D&D. So, and when you're ready for even more, expand your adventures with the 5th edition, which this is the 5th edition version. Player Handbook, Dungeon Master Guide, Monster Manual. That is not included in this. What's included are these items here. And so it's under this little piece of plastic, which I'll open up now, and then unveil what's inside this box. Okay, so let's do this thing. I got a little knife here. We'll just very carefully unbox this wrapped box here. There you go. And nicely slip the top. This dragon box, look at that. There's a warrior down there with a shield. Pretty cool. And there you go. That's the contents inside. And as advertised, you got the dice here. You got, the 6-sided, 20-sided, and various sided dice. All characteristics of the game of Dungeons and Dragons, along with a lot of other role-playing games. Okay, and so the next you have a little manual here, Lost Man of Vanderveer, or whatever it's called, Dungeons and Dragons. Let's see, what is this thing? This is this book written for the Dungeon Master. So essentially, this is the abbreviated Dungeon Master Guide. And what did it say? It's supposedly 64 pages, and indeed has lots of beautiful pictures. I remember in my day when in the first edition, it actually just all it had was black and white hand-drawn pictures, so that's kind of cool that it's all color. And yes, indeed, 63, and so that would be the 64th page. So that is what this contains. I love the paintings. Let's see, you even have some maps there. Very nice. Look at that spider. I love spiders there. All right. Some more maps. This should be fun. So there you go. That's that. And you have the starter set rule book. And this is apparently just for the general players. And how many pages again was that? That's supposed to be 32 pages. And indeed that's 31. So that would be 32 pages. And nice little cover art in front. And here's your dice right there. Very nice. And so you get some very nice, some very nice drawings, instructions. Again, all the little tables that will tell you how to score all your moves, etc. Very nice. Okay, so next up, it looks like we have several pre-made characters, and these are the character sheets. It looks like you have a fighter one. Okay, you got a wizard one, high elf. You got a rogue one, Lightfoot halfling. You got a cleric one, that's a hill dwarf. And another fighter one, human. Let's see, the first one was a, so you got two fighter humans. Apparently they have different, the two humans have different strengths and weaknesses, etc. So that's very nice. So that's very cool. And then next, and not least, you got just an ordinary piece of cardboard, which is a filler block. So this nice thick box only contains your little sheets, your pre-made characters, you got your starter rule set, you got your mini Dungeon Master guide, and your 6 playing dice. And again, this is supposedly will get you from levels 1 to 5. And so I'm really interested in this because if you actually, here, let me grab my original book. I actually still have my old Dungeon Master guide, and this is the old level 1 or edition 1 Dungeon Master guide. And you can see it's seen its day. But here's the pictures that it used to be, just these little hand black and white things. But I used to look through this thing all the time and never ever played the game. I also had a player guide and a bunch of other books, which apparently I got rid of, but I still have my old Dungeon Master guide. So you can see this is a lot to take in, where this is a little bit more user-friendly just in terms of just content. So I'm hopefully this will get me started and not overwhelmed. I seem to remember when I was a kid, I was overwhelmed with just the amount you had to learn, especially since I had nobody to teach me. So there you go, the unboxing of the 5th edition D&D Dungeon Master Starter Set. Hope you liked this video. I will see you next time. Ciao!